Hi everyone. How are you doing today? If you're not familiar with this video format, in these quick guides I try to quickly go over all the information you need in order to start playing a Pokemon, so this is supposed to work like an introduction for such Pokemon. And for today's quick guide, we have one of the strongest all-rounders in the game. Today we're going to talk about Urshifu, also known as Bear. Although Urshifu may look similar, he's one of the few Pokemon that has two different forms. But this time, each form has only one possible moveset and a unique playstyle. One of them, the single strike Urshifu, is focused on dealing huge sudden bursts of damage, easily taking out squishier targets and finishing off objectives while being able to tank a good amount of damage. The other form, Rapid Strike Urshifu, also known as Water Bear, is great at longer fights, dealing consistent damage while moving around and healing yourself. The cooldown reduction you get from your basic attacks will make you able to spam your moves with almost no downtime. Both of them are really strong, but both have some weaknesses. Single Strike Urshifu has a really hard time against tankier enemies by himself. And Rapid Strike Urshifu can be stunned out of his existence, especially when you're facing a Trevenant or Sableye. Since you need to keep using your moves to survive, a single long stun can ruin your day. There's no need to worry though. After level 5 you'll be really strong anyway. But let me tell you, before that, Urshifu may even make a lonely Comfey not look that bad. I wish I was joking. But Kubfu has for sure one of the weakest early games you can think of. And for that reason, you may want to run this Pokemon in the central area, so you can easily get to level 5. If you're playing with someone, you can even farm everything in the central area once, then let your friend have it for the rest of the game. If you're playing with someone with good moves to last hit and an experience share as a held item, you can have a good time on the bottom path as well. But for your ranked solo games, I'll definitely recommend the central area. With that in mind, let's head towards the practice area and take a look at what this Pokemon can do. This time I'll go over Kubfu and each one of Urshifu's forms individually. So first, let's start with Kubfu. Your passive ability reduces the duration of hindrances on Kubfu. Pretty underwhelming if you ask me. Next we have the boosted basic attack. In this case it has more range, will take you right to your enemy and deals a little more damage. This is good to chase your opponents if you need to. But it's a little annoying when you're trying to lure wild Pokemon into the tall grass. Sometimes this attack will take you out of cover and prevent the wild Pokemon from walking further. For your first move choice, you'll get to pick between Rock Smash and Headbutt. I recommend starting out with Rock Smash, since it deals more damage and the cooldown is actually bearable. You'll get the other one at level 3. Rock Smash is a charged punch that you can aim in any direction. You'll deal damage to all the enemies you hit based on how much you charged up to that line in the charge gauge. You'll also receive 20% less damage while charging this move. So, this is the only move you have to secure any farm at all. Rock Smash deals almost no damage uncharged. Having to charge this move to do any damage makes it really hard for this Pokemon to last hit anything at all. Not only do you need the wild Pokemon to be at a really low health, but you also need your opponents to not steal it away while you're charging. This is slightly easier if you try to steal something from your enemies, so you can get close while charging and just last hit when they get its life low enough. I really recommend you try to farm uncontested wild Pokemon until level 5 though. The damage reduction is nice as well, it can help you out of some bad situations. Your next move is Headbutt. This one is really similar to Squirtle's Skull Bash. It's a dash that deals damage and stuns your enemies. Keep in mind you'll not move instantly, there's a short animation before you actually dash. The damage here is really low as well, but you'll mainly be using this move to either assist your partners with the stun or to run away. But be careful when using this move, since it has a 9 seconds long cooldown. Sometimes you really need to have this move ready to go. When you reach level 5, you'll need to pick a move that will define which Urshifu form you'll be playing, as well as your other moves. Your choice here is either Wicked Blow or Surging Strikes. Wicked Blow will lock you into the single strike form. You'll get a new and actually useful passive ability, which will split your damage when fighting against enemies with shields. 70% of the damage will be dealt to the shield, the remaining 30% will be dealt to their health. This can make you suddenly finish off low health targets, even if they try using a Unite move to survive. But the big thing here is that you can interrupt the scoring animation through the shield provided by Rayquaza. You'll also get a new boosted attack, which deals more damage than the previous one and also gives you a shield for 3 seconds. This one really helps you stay in fights and can even hit hard if you get a critical hit. Now for the main reason you chose to play as single strike Urshifu. Let's talk about Wicked Blow. This move works similarly to Rock Smash that pushes the enemy's hit when charged. It's a charged punch that will reduce the damage you take by 20% while charging. But this time you'll be unstoppable at the cost of some movement speed. The damage is dealt to an area in front of Urshifu but will critically hit anyone in the center of that area, while also dealing extra damage based on the target's missing HP. However, if you don't charge Wicked Blow, you'll deal damage in a small area, slowing everyone you hit and the cooldown will be reduced by 50%. After using either the charged or uncharged Wicked Blow, you'll get a boosted attack. When this move upgrades at level 11, the damage reduction will be increased to 40% and the enemies you push will also be stunned for a short time. This move's only downside is the decreased movement speed, but besides that, this is the best move in the game to secure objectives and finish off targets. Not only can you deal a massive amount of damage, that can sometimes be enough to almost one-shot attackers, but it's also increased when you attack someone with low health. The unstoppable status paired with the damage reduction can make sure you can walk right to your target without issues, making single strike Urshifu currently the strongest Pokemon to secure Rayquaza or any other objective. Just keep in mind that the bonus damage based on the missing HP is higher when hitting enemies in the center of the area, so you really want to try aiming your Wicked Blows. And don't forget about the uncharged Wicked Blow. The damage may be way lower but it's also useful when you don't need all that burst damage, so you can fight by spamming this move and your boosted basic attack. At level 7, single strike Urshifu learns Throat Chop. This move works like Headbutt but without that first part of the animation, so you can instantly dash to the designated direction. You still stun the targets you hit but this time you also get a boosted attack. When this move upgrades at level 13, you'll get a 2 seconds cooldown reduction when you hit your Wicked Blow. So, this move is really good as well. It's a long-range dash that deals good damage and also stuns. So this is a really good tool to get in range for a Wicked Blow. The stun makes it harder for them to run away before your charged Wicked Blow lands. Throat Chop is amazing at running away as well. The boosted attack you get after is helpful as well, especially because of its extra shield. Then at level 9 you'll learn your Unite move. This attack also has 2 possible variations. You'll dash towards one enemy making it unable to do anything during this first part of the animation. Then you can either hold a direction or not move at all. If you hold a direction, you'll then punch the enemy far away into that direction, dealing massive damage to it and hitting everyone in its way. The other option is not holding any direction, which will result in you sending your enemy into the air for a long time. Actually, enough time for you to land a charged Wicked Blow. The drawback here is that this version deals a little less damage by itself. Using this move will reset your Wicked Blow cooldown. The buffs you get from using this Unite move are 30% increased movement speed, 30% cooldown reduction and a shield equal to 20% of your maximum HP. So, I have to tell you right now, you'll be using your Unite move to send your target into the air most of the time. Landing this move with a Wicked Blow right after is enough to instantly remove someone from the fight. Picking the right target with this Unite move can suddenly win your team the game. Although this move is really strong, there's still some ways to get out of the almost guaranteed Wicked Blow afterwards. When your opponent is in the air, they can still use a full heal to recover immediately and run away. Wigglytuff's Unite has this same effect. The other way to escape this Unite move is by having a Slowbro Unite move the Urshifu, interrupting its attack. And for some reason Zacian can casually jump out. But anyway, this move is great at one-shotting one single target. You can even use an energy amplifier to make this combination even more effective. Now that we went through the entire moveset for the single strike Urshifu, it's time to start talking about the Rapid Strike. You'll have access to this form by choosing Surging Strikes at level 5. Both Urshifu's forms have the same passive ability. But this one has a new basic attack. It deals the same amount of damage as the single strike one, but divided into 2 hits. When you hit this attack, the cooldown of both of your moves will be reduced by 2 seconds. Now for Surging Strikes itself. This move can be used 3 times. Each one has a timer to be used though. If it runs out, the move will be on cooldown regardless of how many times you used it. The first 2 times you'll deal damage and move towards the designated direction. On the third time, you'll have a little more range and will briefly send the enemy's hit into the air. This last one is always critically hit. After each use, you'll get a boosted attack that restores a good amount of health on hit. When this move upgrades at level 11, you'll take 30% less damage during this move's animation. Again, this first one is the main reason to play in this form. It's your main source of damage, sustain and mobility. This move allows you to fight your enemies a really long time if needed. Remember those better boosted attacks that you get with each use? Well, they heal a ton and decrease your cooldowns by 2 seconds each time. So you'll have 6 less seconds of downtime for you to use your moves. Also, the cooldown starts counting down when you use the move the first time. So sometimes you can already have another surging strike ready right after your last use, depending on how fast you use them. The only problem with this move is that we have an insane amount of stunts in the game right now, and if you wait too long before using surging strikes you lose the remaining uses and have to wait for the cooldown. So my tip to have a better time using this move is to try your best to avoid getting hit by moves with long stuns, like trying to stay away from Pikachu's Volt Tackle range until you see the move coming out on someone else. The only hard ones to dodge are Trevenant's Woodhammer and Sableye's Knockoff and Confuse Ray. For those I recommend using a full heal and praying it's enough. And you don't need to use all 3 hits to attack. If you think you might not survive, you'll need some surging strikes to run away. With some time you'll get better at noticing which fights you should and shouldn't run. Then when you reach level 7, you get access to your next move, Liquidation. This move deals a small amount of damage around Urshifu, reducing the defenses of anyone you hit by 30%, and for each enemy hit up to 3, you'll also get a shield based on your attack stat. When this move upgrades at level 13, its cooldown will be reduced by 1 second. Both the damage and shield from this move aren't amazing. In my opinion, the best thing about this move is the defense reduction. To get the most out of this move, I recommend using this move right after your first use of Surging Strike, so you can get close enough for a liquidation to hit, while getting the boosted attack cooldown reduction for both moves. Sometimes you'll have enough damage to finish the fight without liquidation. In that case don't even worry about using it, just burst what's left from your opponent. And finally, at level 9, you'll get this form's Unite move. The first time you use this move, you'll deal a small amount of damage around you and push everyone away from you. If you activate this move again, you'll attack one target 5 times while also pushing that enemy. The last hit can deal damage to multiple enemies. But between the first and second activation you'll have a large window to attack enemies with your other moves, and every time you hit someone a counter that appears on top of Urshifu will increase. For every 2 hits you get on your counter, the second activation will have 1 extra attack. You can't get more than 10 extra hits. So after your counter reaches 20, you won't get any extra hits. While on the animation of the second activation you'll be unstoppable and will receive 30% less damage. The buffs you get from your Unite are the same as in the single strike form. So the second activation is really strong, it deals a lot of damage and can immobilize one target for a while. Sometimes you don't even need to get a lot of extra hits for this move to be useful. Also, with the increased cooldown reduction from the Unite move, it's really easy to spam Surging Strikes without any cooldown. But keep in mind that this Unite move is really weird. And what I mean by that is that people can randomly escape the last part if they move a little right when you activate the Unite, especially around walls. Now that we covered everything that Urshifu can do in a match, let's take a look at which items you can use to get the most out of this Pokémon. Starting with the battle items. You can run X speed in any of Urshifu's forms. The extra movement speed is great at either chasing or running away from someone. Next we have the eject button. And this is my top choice for single strike. You can use this item defensively to just reposition, or you can use it immediately after your wicked blow to have some extra range. And my last recommendation is full heal, and in my opinion, this is a must-have on your rapid strike build. Getting interrupted in the middle of your surging strikes is not great. With that out of the way, let's take a look at the held item choices. For my best choices I have some items you can't go wrong with either moveset. First, Focus Band for some extra survivability. Muscle Band decreases the time you take to farm in the early game by a lot, especially on your first central area clear. Scope Lens adds some extra damage to your critical hits, in this case you have moves with guaranteed critical hits. Razor Claw is more useful on the rapid strike Urshifu, but it's still great on single strike, bringing some extra damage after each move. Now for some other choices that are still great, but I think are slightly less flexible than the previous ones. The attack weight adds a lot of extra damage to your wicked blows and Unite move. It's not that useful on Rapid Strike and requires some work in order to work. Energy Amplifier works well on both forms, but in my opinion it is amazing on single strike. It makes it so easy to one-shot with your Unite move. Weakness Policy also works well with any Urshifu, giving some extra damage after you get hit sometimes. Buddy Barrier is better used in my opinion on Rapid Strike Urshifu, when you may actually need the extra shield to get the most out of your Unite move. EOS Cookie I would only use on to get more healing on the Surging Strike's boosted attacks, since they're based on your maximum HP. Since you basic attack quite a bit sometimes, this item can be useful in certain scenarios. But this is far from a priority in my opinion. Besides those items, I wouldn't recommend anything else. Now the only thing you're missing in order to build up Urshifu the way you want are the boost emblems. And in this case, I recommend equipping brown and white emblems, prioritizing the ones that give you extra attack or health. Alternatively, you can also try running black emblems for extra cooldown on your surging strikes. This doesn't change very much though. And if you own a Tyranitar emblem, you can even run 7 black and 4 brown emblems, to have some extra attack on top of it. And that's all for this quick guide. I hope that I helped you to understand how Urshifu works so you can play it in a way that matches your playstyle. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more Pokémon Unite content, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate having you around. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope you see you next time.